Let's take a look at these examples. We have to distribute 7xy into the parentheses. Means I have to multiply 7xy by every single term inside of the parentheses. 7xy times negative x. Positive sign times negative gives me negative. 7 times invisible 1 is equal 7. I have x times x. Remember, anytime there is no exponent, there is always invisible 1. Anytime we multiply variables with the same base, we're supposed to keep the base and add exponents. That's why I'm going to have x, and 1 plus 1 gives me second power. And simply copy y. 7xy times negative y. Again, invisible positive sign I have to multiply by a negative, which is going to give me negative. 7 times invisible 1 gives me 7. X will stay. And I have y times y. Remember, there is invisible 1. Anytime I have the same base, I keep the base and add exponents. 1 plus 1 is going to give me second power, y to the second power. This is the solution to this problem. Let's take a look at the second example. This time we're supposed to multiply this monomial by every single term of this polynomial. Okay, I have to multiply this term by every single term inside of the parentheses. In other words, this is going to look like this. Negative times invisible positive gives me negative. And I'm going to have x, y to the 7 power, z to the 3rd, and I have y to the 5th. Next, I have to multiply this term by negative 3z. Negative times negative will give me positive. In other words, I'm going to have x, y to the 7 power, z to the 3rd times 3z. I'm doing everything step by step. Negative times positive will give me negative, and I'm going to have x, y to the 7, z to the 3rd. I simply copy this term. And I have to multiply by x to the 2nd, y. Okay. Next, I have to multiply this term by negative 9. Negative times negative gives me positive. And I have again x, y to the 7, z to the 3rd times 9. Now, let's organize this example. This is multiplication. I have y and y. Anytime I multiply the variables with the same base, I'm supposed to keep the variable and add the exponents. Okay, I have to keep the base and add exponents. So I'm going to have x, y, and I have 7 and 5. I have to add them up. 7 plus 5 and times z to the 3rd power. Plus, let's take a look what we have over here. I have z and z. Remember, anytime there is no exponent, there is always invisible 1. I have z to the 3rd times z to the 1st. I'm going to have z to 3 plus 1. Okay, because I have to keep the base and add exponents, 3 plus 1. And everything has to be multiplied by 3. Minus, remember there is always invisible 1 next to the variable. Anytime you don't see an exponent, I have x and I have x. I have to keep the base and add exponents. I have x, 1 plus 2, And I have y, remember, anytime there is no exponent visible, there is always an invisible one. And I have y 7 plus 1. And I have z to the third. Okay, plus, in this case, I'm supposed to just copy everything down. But anytime you will write your answer, make sure that the number will be always on the front of the variables. That's why I'm going to write 9x y to the 7 z to the third. Okay, so my answer is going to look like this. I'm going to have negative x y 7 plus 5 is equal 12 z to the third, plus, I said numbers supposed to go on the front of the variables. That's why I'm going to write this 3 on the front of this term. I'm going to have 3 x y to the 7 z to the 4, and I'm going to have minus x 1 plus 2 gives me 3 y 7 plus 1 gives me 8 z to the third, plus 9x y to 7 z to the third. This is the solution to my problem.